extreme snow forecasts, cold snaps, and Snowmageddon warnings, and they're linked to an unlikely weather source most people don't know of. Snow forecasts and warnings of the intense Snowmageddon blizzards have been traced to tropical weather patterns. It's not only the polar vortex, according to a study, not only tropical weather patterns. It also has to do with volcanic eruptions, especially in the Ring of Fire. If you see the various videos that I've just posted up today, this is something totally new. When cold snaps from the North Pole strike across Europe and North America, weather forecasters brace for blankets of snow covering the streets. These cold snaps, dubbed polar vortex outbreaks, drive intense snow and weather, extreme snow and weather, sometimes called Snowmageddons. The polar vortex is an area of low-lying pressure over the Arctic. Chilling winds between 6 and 31 miles affect weather on the surface, of course. And though the polar vortex is considered the culprit behind these snowstorms in North America and Europe, parts of Asia as well, the researchers in the UK are looking at the tropics to explain this freezing weather in the US and Canada. Researchers at University of Reading in the UK propose weather patterns in the tropics and not just the Arctic are to blame for this freezing extreme weather in North America. According to meteorologist and also PhD student Simon Lee, better understanding where these Snowmageddons come from help forecasters better adapt to these blizzards. Lee led the winter study, and it was published on December 27th in the journal Geophysical Research Letters. As a meteorologist, he said, despite the most extreme cold snaps experienced in North America, often being described as polar vortex outbreaks, our study suggests vortex strength should not be considered as a cause. He explains, we know that a weakening polar vortex allows cold air to flood out from the Arctic over Europe and Asia, and of course North America. But we found this is surprisingly not the case the other side of the Atlantic. In fact, our work suggests we should actually look south to conditions around the equator rather than north to the Arctic for the causes of the widespread freezing conditions in North America. He says, our results did reveal that the polar vortex system provides useful information on the likelihood of most weather patterns on the US and Canada further in advance, including some potentially disruptive temperature changes or even heavy rain. The more accurate information populations have about upcoming changes in weather, the better they can prepare. Now, based on this study, researchers found a strong polar vortex contributes to a 10 to 15% chance of freezing weather in the western parts of North America, such as Alaska. In the central and eastern parts of the US, though, the same vortex conditions contribute to milder weather. Neutral or strong polar vortex speeds were also found to drive temperatures up to 5 degrees Celsius above the normal in the eastern United States. The researchers have now proposed meteorologists and forecasters have to consider how the polar vortex interacts with long-lasting patterns in the tropics such as El Niño. When a Snowmageddon struck the US in February 2010, the blizzard paralyzed the country all the way from the southeast through Mexico and up towards California. Snowfall in some parts of the country reached dire heights between 20 to 30 inches and claimed many lives. In Indiana, 2 men were killed in the blizzard when driving through heavy snow, colliding with an oncoming truck. As you can understand, a lot of these accidents would be taking place. Maryland, of course, carbon monoxide poisoning after the 2 men died in their car after their car's tailpipe was blocked by the snow, things like that. Now, although the weather has so far been calm for most parts of the U.S., the forecasters expect to welcome the new year with a major storm on the East Coast, another Snowmageddon. According to weather forecasters at AccuWeather, a major storm will bring lashing rain, snow, and ice across the Midwest and the Northeast. Meteorologist Alex Sosnowski said rain will first soak the south soon after 2:20 begins. The system gathers along Gulf of Mexico coast first. Wet weather will then overspread the Midwest and Northeast on Thursday and Friday, as warm air is expected to surge out behind the storm's arrival across most areas east of the Mississippi. And today, December 31st, U.S. National Weather Service, NWS, issued a short-range weather forecast for the Pacific Northwest. They expect two cold fronts to sweep over the region. It will produce heavy rain over the coastal areas of Washington and Oregon, and they said that one more day of rain, snow, and some ice is expected across the Northeast as the coastal low slowly tracks northward across the region. And the heaviest snow will be expected for northern Maine, where 6 to 12 inches of accumulated snow is likely. This is on Express UK by Sebastian Ketley. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.